Are you ready?
You have reached the point of no return.
Guys, it's another week gone by, and I'm sorry that it's a little late, but had some complications yesterday, but I'm doing it. So this is part two of my book series review on the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. Today, going over the books City of Glass and City of Fallen Angels, which are books 3 and 4. So City of Glass starts up basically right after that woman Madeline comes into the picture. She tells Clary that her mom is not in fact in a coma, she is under a spell, and the only way to take it off of her is to find a magician named Ragnar Fell. He has the spell book that will remove the spell from Clary's mom. Uh, what ends up happening is Clary and Jace decide that they're going to go to the City of Glass, otherwise known as Alicante, the secret land city, whatever you want to call it. They decide they're going to go, but they're going to go in secret because it's very illegal what they're doing and very dangerous, and they shouldn't be doing it, but they're going to do it anyway. So Jace asks Simon if he will kind of like cover for them because what they're doing is wrong and they don't want anybody to know about it until they're already gone. Magnus creates a portal for them to go through, but before Clary can get there, they're attacked by these things called the Forsaken, which I can't quite remember what exactly they are. I'm sure it explains to you in the books if you read them. But they're attacked, and the Institute is basically destroyed, and Simon's hurt really bad. And so Jace has two options. He can go through the portal by himself and just leave Simon, or he can go through the portal and take Simon with him. Of course, he decides to take Simon, because otherwise Simon would have died. He takes Simon, Simon heals, all good, all good. Clary gets there after all this has happened, and Magnus explains to her that the Institute was attacked, and that Jace had to leave. So Clary is kind of sad, while at the same time, Luke is relieved because he didn't want Clary to go. Uh, but because Clary has this amazing power where she can create runes, she creates a rune that allows her to make a portal to wherever she wants to go. But because you cannot be portaled into the city, she and Luke go through the portal, and they're portaled basically right outside of the boundaries, and they're portaled into this lake, this like mirrored lake where Clary has a basically almost dies. She starts drowning, but then Luke, who's a werewolf, goes kind of primal and pulls her out of the water and encourages her to throw up as much water as possible. What? Why would you do this? Well, he explains that the lake that they landed in is actually Lake Lyn, which is the exact lake that the angel Raziel came out of when he first made the Shadowhunters. And since then, the waters have been cursed for all Shadowhunters. Like, if they drink it, it causes hallucinations and deliria until finally they just die. And the only way to fix it is with a steel. But she dropped her steel in the water, and they can't go back to get it because it's not going to work. So they start making the trek to the city. And on the way there, Clary basically loses it. Like, once they get to the city, she's falling down, she's delirious. So they take up residence with his long lost sister Amadis. Amadis kind of like forsook Luke ever since he became a downworlder, because during the uprising from Valentine, Luke became a downworlder, and Amadis was married to a guy named Steven, and he followed Valentine. And Valentine didn't want anybody who had anything to do with downworlders near him. So he made Steven annul the marriage. And of course, like a good follower, he did it. So ever since then, Amadis has been pretty pissed off at her brother. When Jace and Simon arrive in the city, they meet up with the Penhallows, and what ends up happening is Jace kind of has this romantic relationship with one of the Penhallows that's his age, and Simon ends up being put in jail because they want him to lie, saying that Jace is in league with Valentine and he's helping him when he's not. And Simon doesn't want to do it. So they say that they're putting him in a jail because he's a daylighter. And while he's in jail, he gets this vision of Raphael, who is the head of the New York vampires, saying that all the vampires, including him, want to kill him and basically drink his blood because they want to be daylighters. And so there's kind of like a price on his head, or they just want to kill him. And so he's kind of worried about that after this. Clary sneaks off from Amadis's house, finds Jace making out with that girl, the Penhallow girl, and gets really mad. And they have a fight, and she ends up going back home. But on the way back, she meets this guy named Sebastian Verlac, which is the cousin of the Penhallows, and he walks her home, and she gets yelled at by Amadis, but they meet up again later because she gets him to help her find Ragnar Fell, and they go find him, but instead of finding Ragnar, they find Magnus in his place. Ragnar Fell is dead, and Magnus basically like freezes time and freezes Sebastian, but leaves Clary and tells her that tells her where she needs to go to find the book, the spell book, to bring her mom out of the coma. And then he puts time back, and Sebastian and her go find it. It's on an old compound of Valentine's, and they have to go under it. And there's like an angel in there, and the angel is like weak and bound with runes, and when they get there, it's basically on the verge of death. And what happens is the angel shows Clary this rune that she has no idea what it's for, but the angel shows Clary this rune, and she has no idea what it's for, but she memorizes it. And later on, it actually gets really helpful. But they get the book. The angel actually dies. Like it dies. They release it from its bonds, and it dies. But she and Sebastian end up kissing. But Clary ends up breaking it off because it didn't feel right. Like, it felt wrong to her, and Sebastian kind of gets a little violent. Not like violent hitting her or anything, he just like, it gets kind of mad. And so what happens is Jace feels really bad about what happened, but there's nothing that he can do. And so what ends up happening is they all go back to... They all meet up together, Sebastian, Jace, and pretty much everybody, so they can break Simon out of jail. And when they do, they also break this guy that Simon met in there, Samuel. But Samuel turns out to be Hodge, who tells the three instruments, the mortal instruments. There's the sword, which Valentine has, the cup, which Valentine also has, but all he needs is the mirror. But Hodge reveals that the mirror actually is not an object. The mirror is Lake Lynn. And it's revealed that and afterwards it's revealed that Sebastian is a spy of Valentine's, because Sebastian kills Hodge, claiming that he wasn't trustworthy. But they find out he's a spy of Valentine's, and he runs off, and they lose him. And when they get back, he killed Max. Like, he blatantly killed Max, Jace, Alex, and Isabella's little brother. At the funeral, after Max's funeral, Jace sneaks into Clary's bedroom, tells her he loves her, and then just kind of sleeps with her. Not like anything bad. He sleeps with her and holds her hand. That's it. And in the morning, he leaves a note saying that he's going to go find Sebastian because he wants to kill him. Clary goes to the Clave and convinces them that they need to fight with Downworlders if they're going to win against Valentine, who is creating an army of demons. I know, right? An army of demons, which exactly is he supposed to be killing. But he's doing it because he wants them to believe that if he gets the angel Raziel to come back, he'll wish for the destruction of all Shadowhunters that aren't in league with him, and demons will basically take over the earth. But what he's really going to wish for is the destruction of all demons and the destruction of any Shadowhunter that is not in league with him. So he can create basically his own perfect world. It's kind of... When Clary convinces the Clave, she shows them the rune that the angel gave her, which is a binding rune. It allows a Shadowhunter to bind with a Downworlder, so both the Shadowhunter and the Downworlder get the rune. I know, pretty crazy, right? But the vampires don't want anything to do with the Clave unless they get Simon. They want Simon so they can kill him and, drink his blood. But what Clary does, she has the power to create runes that nobody knows how to make. So, if you read the Bible, you'll know a little bit about the Mark of Cain, how when Cain killed his brother, God marked him, and anybody who ever tried to hurt him or kill him or anything like that turned to salt. And he would live forever and he would walk the earth alone. Well, Clary puts the Mark of Cain on Simon, and they can no longer kill him, so they don't even care. The vampires are in league with the Shadowhunters. They go ahead and help them since they've got nothing better to do anyways. And Clary finally wakes up her mom, who tells her that Jace is not her brother. Jace is the son of the Herondale family, who he's the son of the previous Inquisitor. He, just like Clary, he was injected with angelic blood too. He's not demonic in any way. Her real brother is, but they don't know who her real brother is. But it turns out that it's Sebastian. Sebastian is actually her real brother. And she kissed him and she feels really slimy, but she's also happy because she can be with Jace and not feel bad about it. Jace finds Sebastian talking to Valentine, and when Valentine leaves to go to Lake Lynn to summon Raziel, Jace fights Sebastian, and Sebastian tells him the truth about whose son he is and whose brother and sister and all of that. And Jace ends up killing Sebastian. For now. There's this apparently there's this one point in the back where you can sever someone's spine and pierce their heart at the same time, and they both know it. And Sebastian at first tries using it against Jace, but Jace kind of turns it around on him like, oh, I know the same move. Boom. Kills him. What happens is Clary portals to Lake Lynn to try and stop Valentine, and he freezes her. And he's going to use her as a sacrifice to summon Raziel. But Jace gets there just in time to stop him from sacrificing her. And instead, he sacrifices Jace. Jace is dead. Yeah, I know. Jace is dead. It sucks. But Clary is able to get free of the spell that is binding her for long enough to be able to put her name on the summoning runes instead of Valentine's. And what happens is when the angel Raziel comes out of the water, he looks really cool. He has all the marks. He's basically wearing every rune possible. And Valentine's like, hey, where's my wish? But the angel tells him that he's not the one who summoned him. His name isn't on the runes. And he kills Valentine, basically shatters him to pieces. And because Valentine's evil and Raziel sees it because he is not under the power of Valentine. He is under the power of Clary. So he tells Clary that since her name is on the runes, he cannot destroy her, and she gets a wish. She wishes for Jace to come back to life. I know, right? Jace isn't dead for 5 minutes and he's already back. Lucky bastard. The book ends with Sebastian's body is never found. And Clary and Jace kind of go off into the sunset because they're allowed to be together finally. And the queen of the fairies, the Seelie Queen, she asks to have one of her subjects take the fairy's seat in the council, and tells Clary that if she wants, she can have a favor. But Clary doesn't want it, and basically she scorned the fairy queen, and that's like a big no-no. But that's basically where the book ends, and that is the end of City of Glass, book number 3 in the supposed trilogy of the Mortal Instruments series. Now, I say trilogy because whenever this book series first came out, uh, reviewers were always calling it the Mortal Instruments trilogy. And then the fourth book came out, City of Fallen Angels, and it's like, whoa, slap to the face. This ain't a trilogy, guys. And I always thought that was really funny. Was when the fourth book came out, I was like, oh snap, oh. All right, but that ends up the City of Glass. Is a long. These are long books, but that one had a lot more detail than pretty much all the other books.